Have you ever thought to yourself, how the heck can I run a flex more efficiently? Are you tired of it wearing you out? Or you may say, hey, what is a good machine for boat detailing? I'm gonna answer those questions in this video coming right up. It's a common question. People say, man, I like the flex, but it freaking wears me out. It constantly walks on me. I can't control it. I film myself polishing the whole side of this boat, the whole rub rail down, and I'm just gonna kind of narrate in the background and just let you guys kind of watch how I do things. When you're using this machine, you have to run it in a very specific way or it's going to make your day very difficult. Now, when you learn the machine, it is an amazing machine once you get the hang of it, but it does take some mastering, you could say. You may ask yourself first, what is the Flex 3401 VRG? This machine is a forced rotation machine. It's sort of like a DA and a rotary buffer had a baby, okay? So if you ever had any experience with like a little DA, a hand DA, if you put pressure on it, it'll actually stop spinning, okay? And that's a safety mechanism that way for newbies, that way when they're pushing, it doesn't actually, it won't burn into the paint, basically. If you put pressure on this thing, you could stand on this thing and it ain't gonna stop. It's gonna keep running. Now, in return, that is a very good thing when you're trying to buff out some light oxidation or watermarks. I have found that the Flex is a little more efficient at that because if you do need to put a little more pressure on it to get a little more cutting power, the Flex won't actually stop spinning. It'll actually cut more the more pressure you put on it. Sort of like a rotary machine if you ever have any experience with that. If you need a great machine that's gonna be reliable, kind of your all around, you can detail cars with it, you can detail boats with it, you can sand with it. This machine, for the money, you really cannot beat it, guys. If you're debating on, hey, do I need to invest the money to buy this machine? This is the machine you wanna buy. Now, a common question I get all the time is, hey, what speed do you run it on and how much pressure? Depends on if I'm cutting or finishing, but when I'm cutting, I usually like to put a decent amount of pressure on that, but I don't use my arms. I kind of use my whole body. I wish I had someone filming me, which I don't, but if I had somebody filming me, you could see me put my whole body in, and in the clips, you will actually see what I'm talking about. But I use my whole body as kind of the force to push. I don't always just use my arms. And what you'll notice is I usually keep that buffer right in my chest. That is the best place to keep it for manhandling it. And also, one really quick tip is to let this polisher do what it wants to do. A couple things to watch for. One is my pattern. Watch my side to side, up and down, and my side to side motion. That is going to be the key behind really any polishing technique, but especially with this machine. And also too, watch how I handle it. I'm not using my arms per se, I'm using my entire body. I'm getting my legs, I'm getting my hips. It's more like dancing, man. You gotta make love to this machine. Don't get weird with it, but you gotta dance with this machine. That is the only way. If you're trying to sit there and manhandle it with your hands, you're gonna have a rough day. So watch those things and enjoy the teaching. I hope you guys get some value out of this. If you do get value out of it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the little bell so every time I post a video, it comes up. That's enough of me talking. Let's get to work. First things first is let's go ahead and wash the boat down. All I have in my foam cannon here is Dawn dishwashing soap. This boat has a ton of salt on it as of right now. It sits in a wet slip behind the customer's house. So I just want to go ahead and use Dawn and strip off all that old junk that's on there. Quick tip, this is fresh bottom paint. Do not put any type of acid, water spot removal, or degreaser on fresh bottom paint. It will streak the living heck out of it. So quick tip, don't learn the hard way like I did. Don't put any heavy degreasers. This right here is just Rust Aid. I'm removing the orange scum line right on the bottom of the fresh bottom paint. Thing you notice is that we're going to go ahead and spread on our section. I typically like to do probably like a around 2 to 3 foot section at a time, a little bit more than shoulder widths apart. Now in this particular clip right here, guys, this is real time. This is not slowed down, this is not sped up. The rest of the video is going to be sped up, but this right here is the exact probably arm speed you should be trying to achieve. The slower you go, the more you're going to cut. So if you're trying to cut a little more more, just move your arm speed a little slower. Keep your speed of your polisher on about 5, 5.5, or even 6, and just keep your pressure on there and use your entire body, guys. As you can see, notice the way I'm like moving with the buffer with my hips. I'm not just sitting in one spot, you know, just using my arms. If you do that, it will literally wear you out. After every single section, go ahead and wipe your section down, but go back if you have to continue to watch that first clip just to kind of get the general arm speed. But my biggest thing, as I tell people that I train, is the slower that you move, the better when you're trying to cut. In this case, I am actually moving a little bit faster than I normally would, only because I am trying to kind of cut and polish in the same thing. But you know, just kind of go do whatever feels very comfortable for you. But just kind of a general rule of thumb, the slower you go and the more pressure, the more you're going to cut. The faster you move and the less pressure, the more you're going to kind of finish and polish. So watch the rest of the video. The biggest thing, guys, is watch kind of how I move with the buffer. This flex is a very, very good machine, but one of the biggest things is people say it just wears you out, and it will. If you try to stay locked in and move it with your arms, it will wear your arms out, especially on a big Viking like this, a big boat. When you're lifting your arms up over your head, and you know, and there's some times where you have to do that, but the biggest thing, guys, is move it with you. I usually like to keep it right in my chest, and I'll actually rock my hips and move it back and forth. You can see that on camera, all those watermarks. Can you see all those watermarks? Now, one in our polished area, it's pretty much dang near perfect. There's still a little bit of stuff, but this boat actually has some flaws. So, I mean, but overall, just that one-step polish is good. Now, you may be wondering what pad and polish combination I'm using. All this is, guys, is Manzurna 400 heavy cut compound, which in my opinion actually works more like a polish on marines. On cars, it is pretty heavy cut, but on boats, it is kind of my finishing polish. I always finish out with this polish unless it's a dark colored boat or some very unique situation. So this is Manzurna 400. I have the link down below if you'd like to buy it. And then these pads are Force Rotation Lake Country pads. These pads are specifically designed for the Force Rotation machine, so either the Roops Millie or in this case the Flex 3401 VRG. You have to use these pads because if you use just regular foam pads, they do not work nearly the same as these Force Rotation pads. So I do have a link down below. Unfortunately, they do not sell these on Amazon, so you will have to get a Detailed Image account. And guys, I have the link down below for Detailed Image, or you can go ahead and get a wholesale account. If you are a detailer, get a wholesale account. I also have a link for that down below. You can usually save about 30 to 40% on every order. Go ahead, click that link down below and go ahead and sign up for a wholesale account, or you can just go ahead and buy these products. But specifically for these pads, if you have a Flex 3401 VRG, you have to get the Lake Country Force Rotation pads. This is a medium cut pad. On a car, this is going to be a very aggressive pad, but on boats, it actually works more like a finishing pad. Gel coat is a little more pliable. It will heat up as better. It's not as like hard and rock solid as car paint. So you can usually use a heavy cut pad as a finishing pad. I've had people in the past like ask me like, hey, I'm using a finishing pad, but it's not quite getting the holograms out of boats. Well, the problem is finishing pads are too soft to work on gel coat, in my opinion. I typically finish with this orange heavy cut pad or medium cut pad, or the white medium cut pad is very, very good for finishing. Now, if you have a black boat or black hulls, that's a little bit different story, but most of the boats you can finish with the orange or the white Force Rotation Lake Country pads. So go down below, check those out, definitely get those pads. If I'm gonna polish a white boat, I'm typically gonna use Manzurna 400 and the orange Lake Country medium cut pad. That is what I'm using right here. One thing you're going to see me do when I'm running this, if you've watched it, is the way you incorporate your full body into doing this. Guys, this is kind of a technique. If you go and watch a lot of videos on either boat detailing, which there's horrible videos on boat detailing, but mainly car detailing, because on YouTube we all watch a ton of car detailing videos, is you'll see them being stationary and then using their arms, and they're in very controlled environments. When you're doing a boat, it's not so easy, so you have to use your entire body, and that is the biggest thing I can tell you guys. Just get your entire body involved and it's gonna make your day much better. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got a ton of value. Please hit that like button, and guys, look forward for our next video. It should be coming out around once a week. I'm trying to drop one video a week. It's a lot of work making these videos, a lot more work than I thought, but guys, I really appreciate everybody that's supported me so far. I've only had a couple people complain about things that I do, but hey, it comes with it. So thank you guys so much, and look forward to seeing you next time. So guys, if you do this step correctly, it should start to look like this.